Hey YouTube. Um, I have a little video running here, and that is a recording from Columbus, Ohio. And this video sequence is in reality 1 hour and some 20 minutes, which I cooked down to 15 minutes because YouTube decided to bump me off my unlimited length of videos because I have an opinion about the sitting president, and they didn't like that, so they cut off my opportunity to make long videos. But nonetheless, that ain't gonna discourage me, YouTube. No. And he's still a crook. But what I have been seeing, and now I've been driving this trip for a year, and I would say to you trolls and the fools out there that I know what I'm talking about because I see it every day. You don't. You see it from a completely different perspective than I do, because I'm driving out there in the boonies where the skies are big, so I can see as far as my eyes can see out there in the horizon, to the north, to the east, to the west, and to the south. But in this case, right there, I'm going west, going back to Indianapolis from Columbus, Ohio. It's a stretch of 184 miles from point to point. But I don't know if you can see it on this video. I'm having to look down at it myself a little while I'm recording this, kind of like to have an idea. But as you have already noticed, there are some lines in the sky stretching from the sky and down to ground, and it's going to be more protractive later than you see it right now. This is just the beginning of it. Why am I bringing that up? Well, I'm thinking chemtrails. Oh, another conspiracy nutcase. Yeah, I know. But it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It is real. Something is going on up there, and that is very clear to the naked eye. Something is definitely going on. And every day, pretty much. But I have a serious problem. You see, when you look at these pictures here, or this little sequence, cooked down to 15 minutes, I just left Columbus, Ohio, and you can already see these lines sticking down from the sky and down to the ground. Now, with this amount of chemtrails that we are seeing being sprayed over our heads every day, pretty much, there is every reason to believe that this idea about what chemtrails are not really what we think it is. You see, we got some people up in the northwest of America. One of them is Dane Wigington. And there are some other people. And they have some profound test samples of aluminum, barium, and strontium. Well, I don't really hear that comes from anywhere else on the planet. If it does, no one is talking about it. All we hear is, what in the world are they spraying? These people, these heroes, these who talks about this subject, which is in those two movies. But I have this idea that I think that's a distraction, another one of them, a very well-produced distraction. And I even think that they are spraying that stuff on purpose up there, in order for that to show up, also be part of that evidence, to lead us away from why they're really doing it. Why are they really doing it? Well, the answer is very simple. Something in space is coming this way, and we are not supposed to be able to see that. I hold to say the chemtrails is nothing to do with Monsanto. It has nothing to do with depopulation. World War III will take care of that, and all the disasters that will come in the wake of that will take care of that. They don't need to spray us like rats to kill us off. Nature will do itself later on. So, 1/3 of you will go bye-bye in the First World War. 1/3. That's 2.5 billion people. That means if your family are free, one of you will die. Think about that. That's just for one war. And then we talk about the biblical thing, God's wrath. And some will lean it over to be Nibiru, right? Or whatever. It doesn't matter. It don't really matter what's coming. But what's coming is going to leave a scar on planet Earth. And what's coming we're not supposed to see. And I have a video underneath here, a link to a video where I show and prove that it is really possible with these substances they are spraying to cloak certain colors out, make them invisible to the naked eye. And that is what the chemtrails are for. It's not to kill us off, because, as I said, World War III will do that, and God's wrath will do that. Whatever, it's gonna rain from the sky with fireballs, Many things is gonna take place. But my problem with these particulates that they are saying we are spraying up there, they are 1 micron in size. That means you will only be able to see them under a microscope. They're actually the size of an atom in your body, pretty much. That's the size we're talking about. But I have a problem. I have a serious, serious problem. You see, these airplanes are flying around up there, right? We have commuter airliners flying around up there. We got private people flying around up there in that stuff. And we got me down on the road driving every day. Now, what do we mean by that? I mean that if they're really spraying aluminum oxide in your atmosphere, as we are being told they're doing, that aluminum oxide is in itself very toxic to all organic life. And it will kill us off. And if you see the amount we are being sprayed with every single day, do you think now that you would be alive inhaling all that stuff? I hardly believe so. You would die of blood clot or cancer, because it sits in your cell membrane in your lungs, and your white blood cells cannot attack it, because aluminum oxide has the hardness of 9 on the mole scale, meaning it is 1 level lower than the hardness of diamonds, and is used for grinding sandpaper in the metal industry. And I've said that before. So, we have commuter airliners, we have the chemtrail sprayers, and we have all the amateur flyers up there, flying around in this so-called metal particulates. They're flying with 400 to 500 miles per hour up there in that stuff. So, wouldn't there be a very good reason to believe that we would see a lot more airplane crashes because of malfunction in the engines, or more or less that your airplane, while it's flying up there in that sandpaper, it would be sandblasted. The fuselage of an airplane is aluminum, right? The airplanes will take damage. Yeah, no, then some will say, yeah, but they can mix it in the fuel. Well, that might be so. But that is a completely different process. That is an integrated process. It's inside this system itself and is utilized in a certain way. But in this case, these airplanes are flying straight through all this stuff 24/7, because it's always there, from ground to ceiling, literally. So, what is it in reality they are spraying? We can come with many guesses. Yes, we can. But that don't mean that that is the truth, just because we come in with a lot of ideas. But I have a big problem with them flying around in all these metal dust, being sandblasted. Think about a prop engine. Usually these prop engines have a wooden propeller on their airplane. How do you think a wooden propeller would withstand beating around in all these metal particulates? Don't you think that those props would be severely damaged? And don't you think that the commuter airliners would be severely damaged? That the cockpit's windows would be scratched because of the impact in the air with 400 miles an hour hitting a particulate which is the hardness almost of a diamond? So the idea of literally metal particulates is being dispersed in the atmosphere. I'm beginning to think it's a little distraction, leading us away from what it really is. And they're doing a good job in that. Even I bought the ticket, but I'm not in the favor of that anymore because, as I say, the airplanes were dropped from the sky, flying through all that stuff. And on the other hand, I'm a truck driver right now, and I'm driving up there every day, seeing all this stuff, and I'm filming it, as you see here. I'm filming it every day, taking my laptop and my webcam and stick it on the window and record what I'm seeing, in case there is actually something to report about. So I've been doing that for a year, and I am seeing a system in what they're doing. And that system, I'm gonna be a little, what do you call it, almost like Sesame Street. I'm gonna draw a picture of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio on a big piece of paper, and then I'm gonna explain from the top and show you exactly what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing the same thing every single day. And it don't fail unless it's a rainy day. But if it's a fairly blue sky, you always see there's something out in the horizon, this line, no matter where you look. But that line has a specific purpose, and that is what I'm trying to, in the next video, I'm gonna try to see if I can make you understand what I mean by that. Um, I can give you a hint. It literally looks like when I'm driving, no matter which direction now, because now I'm driving from east to west, from noon to midnight, and now I see it in the opposite sequence and opposite order, meaning I'm seeing from day to night instead of from night to day. So it's reversed now. And when I look upon it, there is no difference. It's the exact same thing I'm seeing. So what I was watching in my rear mirror and all those pictures I've shown you, I stick my hand out and take some shots and see what it's getting on it. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Mostly of them is more or less shook up because, well, the truck is not stable enough to give good pictures, but some of them are good. But they really show what's in the horizon behind me, and I see that in my mirrors because, yeah, I'm watching my mirrors all the time, so that's obvious. I don't have a rear mirror, so I have to use my mirrors out on the side every time. I look constantly, every few seconds, doot, 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 doot. What's there? Is everything okay? And then I see the horizon, and I'm just, this is not right. And I also try to convey to you that what I'm seeing is like a blanket, you have on your bed. And that blanket, imagine you putting a string in each corner of that blanket, and that blanket is being pulled by a device up over your body and in over your head and covering you. You get me? And on the piece of paper I'm going to draw and try to show, I'm going to try to illustrate to you what it is I mean about that. But it looks like that, and it really also is like that. And anybody who were in Illinois yesterday, meaning Saturday, that had got to be the 14th, right? Yeah, it was the 14th. I was seeing the same again. This blanket coming in from the east, covering the sky, and when it covered me, the stars began to appear. How is that possible? Something looked like overcast coming, dragged over your head, and when you come in under it, doot, 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 the stars begins to pop up. So something is not right here. Something is not right. And I'm trying to explain to you what it is I'm seeing and explain why this is not right. See you next time. But I don't know if you can see it on this video. Yeah, I'm having to look down at it myself a little while I'm recording this, kind of like to have an idea. But as you have already noticed, there are some lines in the sky stretching from the sky and down to ground, and it's going to be more protracted later than you see it right now. This is seeing, and now I've been driving this trip for a year, um, and I would say to you trolls and the fools out there that I know what I'm talking about because I see it every day. You don't. You see it from a completely different perspective than I do because I'm driving out there in the boonies where the skies are big. So I can see as far as my eyes can see out there in the horizon to the north, to the east, to the west, and to the south. But in this case, right there, I'm going west, going back to Indianapolis from Columbus, Ohio. It's a stretch of 184 miles from point to point. Hey YouTube. Um, I have a little video running here, and that is a recording from Columbus, Ohio. And this video sequence is in reality 1 hour and some 20 minutes, which I cooked down to 15 minutes because YouTube decided to bump me off my unlimited length of videos because I have an opinion about the sitting president, and they didn't like that, so they cut off my opportunity to make long videos. But nonetheless, that ain't gonna discourage me, YouTube. No. And he's still a crook. But what I have been